Good afternoon, class. My name is Autumn Goldsmith, and I'm a nurse at the endoscopy department at Cone and Wesley Long, and I've been a nurse for a little over a year. And
I'm Lisa Fry. I'm a nurse over at Wesley Long ICU Step Down, and I've been a nurse for almost 2 years.
so I'm going to introduce our topic, which is nursing retention, and we feel that the turnover rate is quite high, and we feel that this is a problem. Even though I've been a nurse for just a little over a year, I have already seen nurses leave and go somewhere else. Whether this be cost, maybe they're going to make more money, or personal reasons, they want to do something different, or they feel like they're not getting the support that they need. Got some statistics here for you. Almost 18% of new nurses leave within their first year, and then 1 in 3 nurses leave within the first 2 years. And like I said, when nurses leave, that turnover can be quite costly to the hospital, and just want to throw out a number to you. $6.4 million is what it could cost in a year when nurses leave and we have to replace them. So this is definitely a problem, and one of the solutions that we came up with, instead of just basically giving everybody a raise, would be an incentive bonus. So this would be a solution where we could set certain criteria in motion. Let's say 6 months. Within that 6 months, if a nurse is in good standing, they have not been in corrective action, and they have not accrued certain points. I know at Cone we have a point system, and if you clock in late or clock in too early, you get penalized for that. So if you're in good standing and you meet these criteria where you're doing your job basically the right way, you would get a bonus, and let's just say $500. That would be awesome. And I think that we should do some more research and see if we can find out what other hospitals in the area are doing, maybe Forsyth, Baptist, Wake Forest, UNC, just to kind of compare and contrast what they're doing, and maybe we could piggyback off them and learn some of their strategies. Now I'm going to hand it over to Lisa, who's going to talk about solution number 2.
Yeah, and our second solution is just to increase leadership involvement. What we have found, and it's from personal experience for both of us, is presence of leadership on the unit can make or break what nurses feel like if they want to stay on a certain unit or leave. On my particular unit, I have found that there was a certain situation where a nurse was listening out for another nurse while she was having her lunch break, and leadership came up to that nurse and they asked her, "Have you had your lunch yet? It's 2:30. And she said, "No, I've been listening for other nurses." And instead of leadership, both the assistant director and the director, instead of one of them saying, "Why don't you go ahead and go eat and I'll listen for your patients," they both went to lunch together. And I remember hearing this from the nurse that it happened to, and my jaw dropped. It completely took me back that leadership would acknowledge that, yes, you still need a break and it's 2:30 in the afternoon, but instead of helping you out, they're both going to take their lunch break together and leave you there. And that's a situation in which I would feel so unsupported. I would feel so upset that my leadership would choose to kind of turn their back on me instead of be there to support me. So we feel that if we can get leadership on the floor more and helping out with passing meds and stuff like that, it would really encourage nurses to stay on a unit that they feel supported. Now, Autumn has kind of the opposite situation on her unit with endoscopy, with her leadership.
So my story is a little different. Like she said, our leadership is really involved, and it makes quite a difference, actually. So we might be short-staffed throughout the day, and it's only really a problem when it comes down to lunchtime. And our leadership will come out, give us a break for lunch, an hour tops. They'll either admit one of our patients, recover one of our patients, just to give us that 30-minute break so we can go eat. And if we didn't have that, I feel like I would be high strung, I would be starving, my attention span is not going to be there. I'm able to better take care of my patients when my leadership will come just for an hour and spend that time on the floor to give me a break. And it makes all the difference.
So those are our two solutions. The one we're going to go with is the incentive bonus. We feel that it will really motivate people to stay either with their unit or with their health system if they can see that they're being rewarded for doing what they're supposed to do. And I know it kind of sounds silly, but it costs way much more money to do overtime for nurses and hire new staff than it is to just keep the nurses that you have. I mean, it was $6.4 million. I mean, imagine what else that could be put towards new equipment. Our patients could get better equipment. They can get better treatments. I mean, it's endless possibilities. So, and like Autumn was saying, if we could they meet certain criteria, like she said, with Cone Health System, it's a point system. So if you don't get any more than 3 or 4 points in a 6-month period, that you qualify for this incentive bonus, whether it be $500. And obviously that's something that will also go with upper leadership, not just leadership on your unit, but you want leadership on your unit to be proactive and encourage you and be supportive of you to kind of meet these goals so that they can bring it up to the leadership saying, look, I've got nurses that are doing what they're supposed to do. They're not calling out, they're showing up for work. We need to give these people incentives. I mean, if you think about it, say it's not 500, say it's like 250 or something, but $6.4 million. I mean, you got to kind of weigh, keep the nurses that you have or just spend extra money that you don't really need to spend. So, and at the core of all this is patient care. Imagine if you have happier nurses. They're probably good. They probably take great care of their patients, but they're happy to come to work. They have fun. They engage in their patients more, especially nurses that aren't working overtime. You think if they ask these nurses to stay later or work an extra 12-hour shift, they might be more tired than they normally would be coming in taking care of patients. And all of this boils down to is making sure that our patients get the best care. And we want to make sure that we have nurses that are happy to be where they are, proud to be what they're doing. And we think that an incentive bonus would really work out for them. It could be PAL days that they can give in, maybe like 6 hours of PAL, 12 hours of PAL, a day off, given that the census is appropriate for it. I just feel like nurses need to be recognized when they do good things, and I think this will really help keep them on the unit.
They're more willing to go above and beyond, and if we're doing our job well, we make our leadership look well. And so I feel that if we make our leadership look well, they're going to be behind us more. They're going to use their voices, their power, to encourage higher ups to be supportive of this idea.
Yeah, and our creative strategy is kind of different. So our plan is to hand out a sheet of paper, a handout that has our solutions to the problem. And we can say this in the beginning of our presentation, we want to ask them while we're talking, just kind of think of past experiences. We know we have nurses in our class that have been nurses for a year, 2 years, but we also have nurses that have been nurses for 5, 10, 15 years. So we have a lot of different experience. So what we want them to kind of get the wheels turning. If they've ever left a health system, why did they leave? Was it a personal matter? Was it because they didn't like the way that leadership was on their unit, the way the system was run? What made them not stay where they were? And that's going to be part of our handout, is we're going to have what we are presenting, but also have 2 questions at the bottom. The second question, it will be, other than a pay raise, because we know the best thing that could possibly happen for everyone would be like, oh, just give everybody a pay raise. I'm sure everyone would say if they got a pay raise.
Money talks.
But like we said, money makes the wheels go around, and sometimes giving 3,000 employees the pay raise that they want it's not realistic. So what we want to know is, other than a pay raise, what would they like to see to keep them on their units, from their leadership, from higher leadership? So our plan is actually to take this to Lisa Boland. She's nurse retention. She heads nurse retention at Cone Health. And we want them to share their ideas with everyone in the class, and hopefully they can take those ideas and take them back to whatever health system they work for. And maybe together we can all come up with different solutions to help with the nurse retention problem, which I think is going to be really interesting to see what other ideas people have. Because we just have these 2 ideas, but there might be 3, 4, 5, 6 other ideas out there that are really great, and we'd love to bring that back to our own leadership and see what can be done.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening.